How are you everybody who is watching this video? My name is Olenjolai Single from beautiful, fantastic country that's called United Republic of Tanzania in Eastern of Africa, and this is our national flag. I would like to take this time, this short moment, to welcome you onto our online diploma Polytechnic Institute, excuse me, that here there is typing errors, right? Institute, right? So this is T, Institute of Tanzania, in square bracket, Olenjolai, right? So this is our online Polytechnic Institute of Tanzania, right? So it's still, we don't have a physical Polytechnic Institute, we have an online Polytechnic Institute. What is the visions that we have in this Polytechnic Institute? Because that's very important, right? The vision that in my heart, that God has revealed in my heart, who has called and given me this idea, who is supervising me, who is just giving me a guarantee of success on the program that I'm doing right now, who is giving me life right now and even the eternal life after this life, has revealed the secrets of visions in this program that we like to see the community of undergraduate, I would just recall this, graduate diploma students and even continuing and graduate diploma students who can take the classroom instructions in mathematics, in science and engineering to solve real life problems in their community, in their villages, in their homes, in their towns, in their countries. That's the main vision that you want to see. So in order to make sure that these visions is made, then we are solving one of the common problems that happens. Many ordinary diploma students, they used to hate and even they fail to understand modules or courses that are focusing, we call them fundamental courses in mathematics, in engineering and engineering and scientific mathematics. So there are many courses. We're not dealing with the causes, we are dealing with the solution of the problems. How are you going to solve? Well, we'll be using different teaching aids, we'll be using different methods, we'll be using different techniques, we'll be using different approach, we'll be using different methodologies of teaching to take complex ideas and concepts in scientific and engineering mathematics, simplify them and make them simpler and simpler so that slow learner, intermediate learner, and even faster learner students might be understand and apply them for the rest of their life. That's the problems that we are solving, and the way that we are solving is by teaching them. So in this online school currently that we are teaching, we are teaching 6 modules, right, or 6 courses. Okay, the contents we are going to teach to the students might be useful in any continents, in Africa, in North America, and South America, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia. But our main focus will be using the curriculums of United Republic of Tanzania. And in United Republic of Tanzania, we have authority that accredit, supervise, even just in also we call it publish the curriculums of different diploma institutions or colleges and even universities, which is called NACTE, and this is called National Council for Technical Education, right? So we say that in ordinary diploma students, they used to pass. First of all, we welcome you as an ordinary diploma students of the first year. Welcome in diploma programs, and get prepared to enjoy the beauty of engineering and scientific mathematics and even engineering and scientific core modules. Okay, so we say that when you'll be for the diploma students, according to the curriculums of United Republic of Tanzania, students, they must study 6 modules in 6 semesters, because the courses, the programs in engineering and the scientific order diploma, the students has to stay or has to learn the course or the program for 3 years in 6 semesters, 2 semesters in each year. So that's what, so we'll be helping them and we'll be teaching you from this first module to the first modules of first year, second modules of first year, first modules of second year, second modules of second year, and even the third modules of third year, and the first modules of first year, and also the second modules of third year, right? So we'll be teaching you 6 modules in total. That's what we'll be doing. Today we'd like to begin with this one, right? With the first one, that's called the algebra. That is the general introductions about these online programs. We have currently our YouTube channels that we are uploading some videos that are called Online Diploma Polyinstitute. These are the abbreviations of these 2 words, Polytechnic Institute. So Poly Institute of Tanzania in square bracket Olenjolai. Well, just I want to give you brief information just to remind you that in case that you forgot some of the piece of information. We are in departments of basic engineering and scientific mathematics. Right, so we are teaching ordinary diploma students who are pursuing courses in engineering and such as telecommunication engineering, electronics engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, water irrigation engineering, automobiles engineering, and even scientific mathematics and scientific courses such as biotechnology, lab science and technology. We have food science. Okay, so we have different courses in in scientific, which actually need the applications of basic engineering and scientific mathematics. So this is the fundamental course, right? And then the module of the course of the day is algebra. Here you study this in NTA level 4, and it is it's a first year module, right? First year module. So in order for, I want just to give you a quick review but I will direct you where you can get too much details on instructions of this program. For you to get connected or to join or to get registered with these programs we are offering, these resources free of charge. You have to make sure first of all you click the buttons at your right hand side of subscribe, and then you click the bells and you opt to the options of all. Next again, we ask you that to share this content, so click the software buttons that has been written share, so you can share the link to your colleagues. And also thirdly, we ask you that to read the descriptions of this video so you can get more information. And fourthly, we can interact with you as a students by asking questions, giving us feedback, submitting your homework, establishing the group discussion, reading questions that other students that have asked online by using the comment section. So use the comment sections to perform at least 5 basic functions which are explained in this lecture 00. You know that that is a piece of information that I want you to get in case that you want to know in details that how you can get registered and what are we doing here, what the missions and what are the contents. You have to make sure that you go through the lecture 00 that has been written, the general introductions of basic and scientific engineering for ordinary diploma, first year, second year and third year in our YouTube channels. That it has been labeled lecture 00. Just to go into these channels, you watch lecture 00, the general introductions of what basic and scientific, basic of what engineering and scientific mathematics, right? So I don't want to waste much of your time. If also you got the descriptions, you will see the invitation that in case you want to, if you feel that you want to offer God the Thanksgiving offering, so that you can be a part of this, of running costly for these programs, for more videos of ordinary diploma to be in air. Or you can use 2 methods by using the bank accounts, go to the descriptions, you will get the details, but also you can use the mobile transactions by using this telephone number 0759 745331. Remember that our consecrations or our focusing, we are focusing on the syllabus of ordinary diploma in United Republic of Tanzania. So that's the piece of information that you want to know. Again, remember that we have different institutions, more than 10, and you have tens of the institutions, that means, or hundreds, yes, hundreds of institutions that are providing scientific and engineering programs in Tanzania. However, that also in some other countries in Kenya also we find them. For example, I gave you example, Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology, Arusha Technical College, they are offering ordinary diploma. Karume Institute of Science and Technology, material are relevant for them. Bayer University of Science and Technology, Al Maktoum, for example, College of Engineering and Technology, University of Dodoma. So you have so many institutions, and even there are so many institutions and even colleges and universities that this material might be useful for them. The name of the modules is algebra. In some of the institutions, they might call it, for example, artificial technical. Instead of calling algebra, they just call it Boolean algebra, right? So don't get confused on the name of the module or the course. The issue is the content. Focus on the contents that I'm going to give, because I'm going to give you basic algebra, which is a little bit advanced from algebra you learned in Form 1 and algebra you learned in Form 2, right? Because algebra is the 7th chapter in Form 1, and also algebra is the second chapter in Form 2. So we are building on top of that, right? So then now I would like to take you into the quick review of what I've introduced to you in the lecture 00 of General Introductions of Engineering and Scientific Mathematics. So basically there, first of all, I gave you the vision, okay, visions of 40 of the, this is what we call it ODE, online ODE, Polytechnic Institute of 40 of Tanzania, so ODPITO, and the founder is Olenjolai, right? And then we explains about problem statement, so you have to go through what problems are you solving, so problems and solution that we are solving in ODPITO, right? Then again, we explains about the big picture of mathematics, what the big picture in my mind of 40 of maths, right? Of basic and scientific mathematics, of mathematics in general, right? And then I have presented to you reference books, right? Reference books and what? And materials used to learn fundamental causes or modules of what? Fundamental causes or modules of engineering, right? Scientific and the engineering courses. Then I told you that how you can register yourself for you to get notification from YouTube community once we upload a new video. And also we explained to you about after reference books, modules or courses that you have to cover in diploma, and the similarities and the differences, courses. That's what explained it to you. So some of the reference books that we classify, you have textbooks, and even also you have the questions and answers book, right? For example, some of the books, we say that you need the course outlines of your modules from your module master or course master. Then you need the 5th or 6th editions of Basic Engineering Mathematics by John Bed. You need the 6th editions of Engineering Mathematics by John Bed. You need High Engineering Mathematics by Ramana, VV. You need the Digital Electronics Principles, Devices and Applications by Anil K. Main for Boolean Algebra. You need also Concepts course in A-Level Statistics by Janet. And then you need also the 4th editions of Pure Mathematics 1 by Backhouse, and the 4th editions of Pure Mathematics 2 by Backhouse. You need some introductions to probability and statistics by Hume. And then you need online or internet books and materials. And also you need the notes that are prepared by Sir Olenjolai Mokota Yailo Single for Algebra for Ordinary Diploma NTA Level 4. Okay, and also you need the questions and answer books that past papers of each modules or course of your college or institutions or university. Hence you need a scientific calculator like this one. In case that you don't have one, you have to make sure that you have to order. These reference books, you might have the hard copy or the soft copy, right? That's what we have discussed previously. In case you want too much details, make sure that you watch lecture 00, the general introductions of scientific engineering mathematics for ordinary diploma, right? So that's all about the introductions. I believe that now you are ready, and we are teaching serious students, so I believe that also you are serious. So you have your exercise book, you have your pen right now, you have a fresh mind, and you are ready to join me into the business of algebra at the first module for ordinary diploma. We are very happy to welcome you. Welcome to enjoy the beauty of engineering and scientific mathematics, right? So let us go to the business. So today we want to discuss the chapter 1, the topic of chapter 1, which is called the algebra. And the lecture, or this lecture 1 is focused on general introductions of algebra. That's what the business that I'm going to do in this lecture. And then so I will be taking you. The good things, these general introductions of algebra is one of the shortest topic that we can cover in one lecture or 2 lectures, right? So it depends to the stamina that you have. So, I would like first of all to introduce topics, right? Topics or chapters, right? So we say topics or chapters, okay, or 40 of algebra that we are going to cover of algebra, right? Topics or chapters of algebra, right? Of algebra for NTA level 4, for NTA level 4, means for ordinary diploma, or simply called it for ordinary diploma OD. So simply we are going to deal in the modules of algebra, we are going to deal with 2 parts or 2 classes of algebra. The first one we call it ordinary algebra, and we'll define to what is it. And also the second one is what we're gonna discuss about Boolean algebra, right? So we say that the first part, we are going to deal with ordinary algebra, say ordinary algebra, which you are familiar with, ordinary algebra, and we'll, okay? So in the topic of ordinary algebra, we're gonna discuss, right? In the branch or in the class of ordinary algebra, we're gonna discuss on, yes, just let us say that, yes, that is just the part A. Okay, we say that, let me just write like this one. The first topic that we are going to cover, the first topic is called the general introduction, right? General introduction. General introduction of what? Of algebra. General introductions of algebra. Then we'll have the second part A, where we're going to deal with ordinary algebra. Ordinary algebra. So in ordinary algebra, we're going to teach you about indices, which means exponent, and what? Indices and logarithm. Logarithm, right? Logarithm. And then we have the set topic afterwards, right? We are going to teach about polynomial, say polynomial, polynomial function. We'll teach you about the issues of remainder theorem, synthetic division. We'll teach you about the roots of quadratic and cubic equation or function, okay, polynomial function. So we'll teach you about yes, many concepts of polynomial functions, so we'll touch it in detail. And then the first topic, we are going to teach you some few concepts of coordinate geometry 1. So when you say coordinate geometry 1, we have coordinate geometry 2, geometry 1. Coordinate geometry 2 will cover in 10 years, so coordinate geometry 1. Right? Coordinate geometry 1. Right? So we'll teach about internal divisions of the line, external divisions, area of the triangle, area of the rectangle, perpendicular distance, right, of the point to the line. So we'll be covering some few concepts of coordinate geometry 1, but not intensively like the coordinate geometry 1 for the Form 5. The 5th chapter, we might teach you also about linear programming. For example, that some of the courses or some of the of ordinary level courses or modules, they are called linear programming and something. So don't worry about the name of the authority of the course, but the issue is you have to handle the content. Then afterwards, we're gonna take you into Boolean algebra. This is the new class of 40 of algebra that we're introducing to you for the first time, but it's very important because the one that making technological developments. This is all about digital electronics, right? So we want to introduce you because we have logic mathematics or mathematical logic. Okay, or logic mathematical. So we have about that's about Boolean algebra. So there we introduce about the number system, the topic that we call the number system. Very interesting topic. And then finally we're going to introduce about logic gates. And even we'll draw some of the logic gates, right? And simplify and even design some few logic gates. But we are just introducing. When we'll be doing a course that called the Diploma in Electronics and Telecommunications, or maybe Diploma in Electrical Engineering or Diploma in Computer Engineering, we learn a lot about what logic gates. Very interesting, and even number system. For instance, let me give you an example, just I want to challenge you. Do you see this scientific calculator? So inside of this scientific calculator, right? Let me just explain something and just excite you so you can wait on and even just stay well connected. For instance, if I take that, I want to add, right? I want to take 6 plus 9, right? This is simple expression. 6 plus 9, arithmetically, you know that 6 plus 9 is equal to what? 6 plus 9 is equal to 15, right? But this scientific calculator does not recognize 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and even repetitions of them. So it does only recognize 1 and 0. So the computations part, which is called the combinational logic circuits, which the arithmetic and logical part of this machine, understand only two numbers, 1 and 0. We call them truth values, right? It does not understand those 15 or whatever. So 15, behind there are 8, for example 1, there are 8 binary numbers that representing 1, and also 5, there are 8 binary numbers that representing 5. So in total we have 16 binary numbers. So for 6 we have 8 binary number, and 9 we have 8 binary number. We call them bits. So we'll be enjoying on them. So that's why that I told you it's very interesting part. Okay, so these are the topics. Let me just give you space so that you can see. So we say that we're going to teach you general introduction. Today we begin with this chapter 1, indices and logarithm, polynomial functions, coordinate geometry 1, linear programming, and also we're going to teach about Boolean algebra, teach about number system and logic gates, right? So how many in total? So 7 topics. So stay connected. I will be trying my level best to take complex ideas and simplify them to make them simpler and simpler, regardless of your historical understanding of mathematics. Stay connected. I believe that God is going to help me to teach you in such a way that you'll understand even if you don't want to understand. Right? But remember that Olenjolai does not know everything concerning about basic engineering and scientific mathematics. I just know small portion. And it's by grace of God, right? And so, I just know small portion, but always I'm ready to teach others what I know, right? I'm still learning about basic engineering and scientific mathematics because that is my calling, that's my assignment. I have an assignment in electronics engineering, in telecommunication engineering, computer engineering, biomedical engineering, right? So I have an assignment there in electrical engineering. I have an assignment in computer programming. So that's why that I told you that I know small portions of it. Okay, well, so let us begin with this topic of general introductions of algebra, right? So that's what I have written just in simple algebra, right? But you can write maybe later that the topic you are learning is in general introduction of algebra. Remember that here we're going to teach you to think differently, okay, of algebra. So because we're going to teach you to think differently, we're going to teach you to learn by asking questions, whether asking a teacher questions or asking yourself, right? And we'll be teaching you the fundament of self-learning. Even if you don't have a teacher, you can learn stuff that you like, stuff that you need to pursue your own vision. So in general introductions of algebra, basically we like just to go through some of the concepts, right? And then so we like to begin with this branch, or it's just this sentence that simply say that we have mathematics. Let me just begin with this one. We have mathematics as the subjects. And hence they have different branches of mathematics, right? We have a branch that mathematics we call it geometry. We have a branch in mathematics we call it calculus or analytical mathematics. We have a branch in mathematics that we call it conics. Conics is just about geometry. We have a branch in mathematics that we call it algebra, right? We have a branch in mathematics that we call it probability and statistics. So you have so many branches in mathematics, right? We have a branch also because in algebra that we say, so we have algebra here. So the subject that we are dealing with is one of the branch which is called algebra. So we would like to begin, I'd like to introduce to you first of all classification of algebra as one of the branch of mathematics. And then so we're gonna define the meanings of algebra. So we say that what are the classes of algebra? How you can classify the topic of algebra? So simply that in mathematics, so we say that in mathematics and mathematical logic, in mathematics and mathematical logic, right? We say that there are, welcome or into the ordinary diploma level. There are two classes of algebra. There are two classes of algebra that are the first class, we call it ordinary, say ordinary algebra, and the second one, we call it Boolean algebra. So we have these two classes of algebra. Also we have some branches. So say ordinary algebra, and say Boolean algebra. So ordinary algebra is all about, is all about what you learned in Form 1, the 7th chapter that's called algebra, and Form 2, the 2nd chapter that's called algebra. You have been learning about ordinary algebra, on solving simultaneous equations, on dealing with inequalities, on dealing on simplifications of expressions. You have been dealing with what is ordinary algebra. Boolean algebra, possibly you have never heard it, but we're going to introduce it to you. Don't worry about that. But if you are from the Form 6, you are graduate from the Form 6, but you join with the diploma program, but I believe that you met with Boolean algebra in two topics. One topic is the first topic of Form 5 in mathematics that's called logic, and also the second topic, if I'm not, third topic of advanced physics for the Form 6 that's called electronics. So you met with that concept of Boolean algebra. So let me introduce to you or give you the concrete issues in ordinary algebra, right? This ordinary algebra, in many cases, we just call it algebra, or in many books, they just call it algebra. But when it comes now to talk about binary numbers or about Boolean algebra, the prefix of Boolean should be starting. So simply, instead of ordinary algebra in many books, you'll find that this is called the algebra, like what you're calling there, right? But that's in case you want to understand. Okay, so now we have a fundamental questions. Let us learn or remind ourselves, first of all, what is algebra? What is algebra? So it means if we say that we're learning about some few terminologies, right? Some few terminologies. So we say that some few terminologies of algebra. So we want to touch about the knowledge of algebra. first terminology. First of all, the word algebra. What does it mean? Pause the video, ask yourself this question 1. What is algebra? Remember that mathematics is computation, right? So don't think that you have studies like this. This is just a fundamental session or lecture, right? What is algebra? So you want to build a strong foundation. We're gonna solve many questions as well as we can. So stay connected. What is algebra? There are many ways that you can define algebra. I found 2 definitions which I think that they can help you. But before even we define, can you take 30 seconds to think, what does it mean? What do you mean? In Form 1 you had algebra. In Form 2 you had algebra. What does it mean? And why do we need algebra? Right? So believe me or not, in your finding, if you be right, you're going to say that, aha, okay, so we have first of all something we call mathematics arithmetic or arithmetical progressions. Even those who have been studying English medium primary school, they have a subject called arithmetic. So arithmetic, we are dealing with numbers. And then algebra, so now in case of algebra, numbers we replace them by using what? Letters. Aha. So algebra is the branch of mathematics that replaces or uses numbers or replaces numbers with variables or with letters. And then, okay, again. So what does it, then after replacing numbers with algebras, what does algebra can do? Okay. And then it teaches how we can manipulate the expressions and equations and formulas that we formed. Yeah, okay, fine. So now we have something in our picture, in our mind. So, the first definition of algebra, we say that algebra, just to tell you in advance, we'll be together in all the 7 chapters. I'll be teaching you and reveal the secret of everything and use the reference books and solving many questions as well as we can. Algebra is a study of algebra is a study of mathematical. Algebra is the study of mathematical symbols. Mathematical symbols, right? Symbols and the rules. Mathematical symbols and the rules for manipulating these symbols. That's one of the definition. These symbols. The teaching language, the language that I'm going to use on teaching these modules is English. So algebra, first of all, itself, it's a study. It's a subject. Of what? Of mathematical symbols. What do these symbols use? They replace numbers in arithmetic. Okay, fine. And then, it's only the study of mathematical symbols, but also it gives us rules or laws to manipulate these symbols. If we form an expressions, algebra gives us rules how we can simplify. If we form a formula, algebra gives us some rules that how we can add like terms, how we can subtract like terms, how we can multiply like terms, that the meanings of the rules of manipulating. This is one of the source or one of the resource as defined. But I have the second definition because I love you so much and I want you to understand algebra, the course of algebra, and even can teach your children, right, at home in the near future. Algebra is the branch, right? Is a branch of mathematics. So this is the branch of mathematics. So algebra is a branch of mathematics in which letters in which letters and other generals in which letters and other generals are used to present. Numbers and quantities. Present numbers and the quantities. Numbers and quantities in formula and the equations. Right? So algebra is a branch of mathematics in which letters and generals are used to present numbers and quantities in formulas and the equations. Okay, so in this second definition, you say that this is the branch of mathematics, first of all, as we explained here, in which letters and other generals are used to present numbers. Where did you have numbers? Arithmetic progressions, for example, not arithmetic progression itself, just arithmetic operations, basic operations, whatever, and quantity. So when you say quantity, for example, mass is a quantity, it's a physical quantity. Time is a quantity, right? Length is the quantity. Weight is a quantity. Okay? Force is a quantity. So, in quantities, in formula and questions. So, for example, in case of the formulas and equations, so you say that for instance that, okay, for instance that we can have 3x plus 4y, right, plus what? Plus 2 is equal to 0. So that is an equation, right? But if you write that we have 3x plus 3 plus 4y, this is an expression. Equation. But in case of the formula, for instance, that I believe that you remember the general formula, and that is b plus this one plus or minus square root of what? Of b squared minus 4ac of what? Over 2a. Right? So this is the example formula, which is algebra, right? It's a kind of quadratic, we call it a function, but, you know, so we say that it can formulate equations and formula. So this is one of the example formula. So we formulate function also from what? From algebra. Okay. So now you have the definitions of what? Of the word algebra. So you say that, for instance, just to want to give you too much information on this, we say that in arithmetic, right? In arithmetic, only numbers. In arithmetic, maths, only numbers. I want you to understand the concept first. Only numbers are used, right? If you forgot, then you should go back to the Tanzania Online O-Level Secondary School, where you'll find videos for algebra for Form 1 and algebra for the Form 2. Okay, so only numbers and the arithmetic operation and the, so you said only numbers and the basic operation. Basic operations means addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right, are used, right? So these are the only that they are used. But what you say, how? For instance, say that you have 4 plus a half. This is arithmetic, right? Again, you can say that you have 3 minus 4 plus 3 hence divided by 5. That is an arithmetic operation. So you can do that operation, that arithmetic operation, right? Now in terms of algebra, we replace those numbers with sorting. So we say that in algebra, say that in algebra, numbers are often represented by symbols called the variables. Are often represented by the symbols called the variables. So we're using symbols to represent, so those numbers are represented by symbols, we call them variables, because you say algebra is a study of symbols, and is a study of mathematical symbols, and the rules for manipulating these symbols, right? We are using algebra even in music, like musical progression. So in music, we used to represent something we call a note by using letters, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I give you a real life application supporting of algebra. So if that's the case, we say that, for instance, that if you want to change these expressions, arithmetic expressions, into a form of algebra, we can say that, for instance, example 1, now instead of 4, we can write that, let's say, can replace 4 with sorting with x, and then plus sorting a half, okay, now plus a half. This already now is algebra because the expressions contain sort of a variable that's called the variable x, right? And hence we have second example. For instance, this one you can have 3y, then you have minus what? Minus x. Let's say that x is equal to 4, and then we say that plus 3, and then we say that we divide by what? By them. So that is an algebraic expression. So this we call algebraic expression. And here we say that x and y, x, y, z, this we call them sorting variables. And the good thing also that these variables, we are using them in computer programming. We call it a variable. So in computer programming, if you are writing a program, or if you want maybe to perform even a simple basic operation like this, so you can use the fixed values, but you have to assign a value of 4 into a variable, right? Depends if you're using C or C++, you have to declare a variable, and then start which type you have to do declarations of the variable. So you have to say whether it is integer. So for instance, in case of programming, if you're right, maybe you want, let's say, to create a variable, or you say that you say int x is equal to 4. So for instance, this is just an additional concept. So for this one that you want maybe to perform this operation, you can say int is equal to 4, int x is equal to 4, so int stands for the integers, and then this is semicolon. For C, this is for C, which you learned in the 3rd year. Again, so you can say that int y, this is equal to what? A half. So then you have what? Semicolon. See? So then this is in case of programming language called DC. So you see variables again. So even in computer programming, when you're writing a program, even in your smartphones, in the computer, in the camera, in TV, so you have algebra. Algebra is very useful because you see that. So now you can perform an operation that you can say int z is equal to x plus y. Right? And then so you're writing a program. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but stay connected. The fresh anointing for computer programming that is on the way. So we'll enjoy together. Okay. So then we say that if that's the case, that now you know what the meanings of algebra, especially ordinary algebra, and how do we differentiate it from arithmetic concept, right? So arithmetic concept. So we say that the most variables are you okay, that's fine. So then another thing which I wanted to introduce to you as one of the very relevant concept in ordinary algebra, branches of algebra. Because in branches of algebra, we get one of the branch that will be covering in ordinary diploma. But the good thing again, the good news, we'll get against another branch that will be learning during undergraduate program, right? Bachelor program, right? For example, in University of Dar es Salaam and even in University of Dodoma, if you'll be pursuing your undergraduate course in those institutions, they have a module called linear algebra as one of the branch of 40 of algebra. For University of Dar es Salaam, they have a module that called the matrices and the basic calculus. So it's matrices, and even so there's a lot of algebra, vector spaces and rectangle and so forth. Okay, so then now I wanted to introduce to you, because this general introduction, branches of algebra. Branches of what in algebra? Say it with me. Branches of algebra. There are 5 main branches of algebra. However, at some of the sources it can give you more than 5, but 5 main branches of algebra, right? So I say that there are 5 main branches of algebra, right? 5 branches of algebra. Okay, these are mentioned. These are the first branch. Are you ready? The first branch is called the elementary. Okay, elementary. Do you enjoy the beauty of engineering and scientific mathematics? Elementary what? Elementary algebra. Right? So elementary algebra. The second one, second branch of algebra is called the advanced algebra.